Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today I'll be filling out my reading journal for February. This is my Archer and Olive frame wall reading journal. I still haven't put anything in the front, but I will be filling out my yearly spreads with my stats, and then I will be creating spreads for the 8 books I read in February. So let's get started. First spread I have my index, but I skipped that for now because I'll just fill that out later when I number my pages. But my year at a glance, I have books read, number of pages, my average rating, ebooks, where I'm also using this to track audiobooks with a headphone symbol. I have physical books I read, if I DNF'd any books, if I unhauled any books, and if I hauled any books. And so let me get my pen. I'm using just Muji 0.5, and I wrote down my stats on a sticky note. I just got them from Goodreads as I track my reading on there. I did a good job reading books from the library this time around. 5 were on Kindle and 2 were audiobooks. I don't really have like a library signifier, so I'm wondering if I should keep track of that somewhere else. But for now, 5 ebooks and 2 audiobooks. So I don't know how I should differentiate between ebooks and audio. Maybe I will write 3E and then, 5E for ebook and then 2 and then the headphone symbol. We'll get to that. First, I read 8 books, almost 9, but I technically finished Emily Wilde's Compendium of Lost Tales. I finished it like the first or second day of March because I just read it more slowly since it was the last one in this series. I kind of just wanted to savor it. I thought I might read it quickly, but I ended up taking my time. 8 books, and my page count was 2,573. If you're wondering how I get this stat, I know some people use Storygraph, I believe, but I just go on Goodreads, and under my read books, it tells me the start and finish date of each book, and it also tells me how many pages that book is, and so I just add them up. And then my average rating was 4, which is really good for that many books. 4 stars. And then, like I said, I read 1 physical book. Technically 2, but like I said, I didn't finish Emily Wilde was one of those books, and I didn't finish it until March, so I'll just count it in March. And then ebook 5, 2 audio. And then I kind of DNF'd 1, but not because I didn't like it, just because I wanted to read other books. So I don't know if will count that or not, but I honestly think I will, because otherwise I might never really have a DNF, because I usually finish a book. Even if I don't really love it, I try to finish it in case it gets better or something. Unhauled 0 and hauled 3. And those are my year at a glance stats. Next, we will fill in how many books I read. And I read 8, so 5 were ebooks. I did a lot of ebooks because the library app Libby, you can get books on there and then download them on your Kindle, and so that's how I read 5 ebooks. I read a lot of romance for February to try to kind of just match the mood of Valentine's Day in the month. And I will fill in physical is this color of my Tombow in 990, and then ebook is this more brown pen, so I'll need those. And then 2 audio is my goldish Tombow in color 026. So I think I will do the 5 ebooks and then the 2 audio and then the physical. Just color wise, I'm trying to think of how I want to break that up. Let's do that. Let's do 5 ebooks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This pen doesn't have as big of a brush tip. It's really windy outside. I don't know if you guys can hear that. Okay, so there are my ebooks, and then I'll do the 2 audiobooks and then 1 physical. This color is so light, it's kind of hard to see on camera, I think, but in real life it's a little easier to see. Okay, there we go. Yeah, in real life it doesn't look so similar to this color. It's more different, like how you see over here. It's this color versus this darker one. Plus this brush pen is littler, so I might go over some of my spots again, but it's not a huge deal. I think that looks good. I like the warm yellow and gold tones on this page. Then I have my hobby tracker, which I did a bad job filling out. I realized it was kind of hard for me, but I to remember to fill this out day by day. So instead, I was keeping track of my hobbies in my Kinbor Weekly. It's like a Hobonichi weeks I'm sure you've heard of that planner. So I wrote down in here days I did my different hobbies, and so I will go through and fill that out now. My key is on the back, and I use the same yellow, my blue, and my red. I game a lot, which I enjoy, but I'm trying to read a lot of books, at least a lot of books for me this year. I used to read a lot when I was younger, and I kind of fell out of it, so I'm trying to get back into reading more, and so I'm having to swap. Some nights where normally I would play a game, I'm having to read just to keep up my reading habit. And this hobby tracker helps me kind of see at a glance when I've been reading versus playing games and stuff like that. And also doing yoga. I want to do yoga more, and this just helps me keep up with it. I found something that helped me get through a lot of books this month was obviously making the habit to read every night if I could, but also reading on my Kindle. And like I said, I got library books from the Libby app and downloaded them on my Kindle. And when I read on my Kindle, I can just like tap to the next page. And it was so easy to just fly through books that way. Okay, and there's my hobby tracker updated. Put that back in there. I did intend for this envelope to be able to hold other things as well. So if you have any other, like maybe I could keep a list of books that I am interested in here or something. That could be fun to add later. Okay, so here's this spread. And then this is my book spot. And I already put in 2 books I got at the beginning of February, which were Stardust by Neil Gaiman and The Adventures of Amina something. I don't have the book in front of me and I didn't write the whole title, but if you know that book, hopefully you know what I'm talking about. I'm going to add Emily Wilde's Compendium of Lost Tales here, and that was an expensive one for whatever reason. I bought it from the bookstore to support them, and it was $30. It is a hardback, so it was. And I like the Emily Wilde hardbacks because they don't have sleeves. It's just printed onto the hardback, so I really like that. But that's the other book I bought in February. Okay, so I have that there. And it was on my wish list at the beginning of the year. This was just like a guess at books I would want to kind of keep me on track. This year, buying books that I'm really looking forward to, because there can always be new books that come out that are flashy and exciting, but I wanted to keep in mind series that I'm reading and that I'll probably want to own the whole series. So I just tried to kind of guess what books I would want to buy this year. And Emily Wilde was definitely one of them. And then Glow of the Everflame. The first book in this series wasn't really my favorite, but I've started the second one here in March, just last night actually. And it is really good so far. I easily read the first 100 pages and definitely want to keep reading it. So it's at least keeping my attention. And then I read Iron Flame, but I don't own it yet. And I think I will buy Onyx Storm. I was kind of on the edge just because Iron Flame wasn't my favorite, but I was gifted Fourth Wing and I am enjoying the series. Is very fun. I wish I had them in paperback, but I was gifted hardcover and I haven't seen paperbacks of these yet, of Iron Flame or Onyx Storm, so I may just buy the hardcovers, especially if I see them on bookoutlet.com for like a cheap price, because sometimes they have hardbacks for $5 and that's not bad. Okay, but here's my book spot updated, and I like to just see my book covers over here. Okay, and then this is on my shelf. So these are books I own physically, and I really just love seeing book covers. That's kind of most of the point of my reading journal, is to look at book covers more often. It's just like such a instant like trigger visual cue to remind me of that book. So I wanted to print out all these on my shelf and get to check them off if I read them, because these are books that I owned at the beginning of the year. And I do have some more space for as I get more books this year. But I did originally think this would kind of be the books I started off with and see how many I can check off. But I could endlessly buy books. So in order to not do that, I do think I'm going to print the books I bought and put them here and see if I can fit all the books here. That would mean I only have a couple more books I can buy, and we'll see if I can manage that. If not, if I buy more, I guess I'll just make another spread or something. But I do like the idea of quickly looking at everything on my bookshelf that I haven't read and then putting a little check mark under it when I'm done. So I'm going to do that. But first I'm going to cut out these. This is an extra cover for another spread, and then I printed these mini ones for this spread, the books I bought this year so far. I'm having to go a little quickly because my kids are napping in quiet time, and when they're done, I know they will want to hang out. So Okay, let's glue these down. And there we have that, and now let's go through and check off any books that I read. I read Fourth Wing, and I just realized this is Daughter of the Moon Goddess, and I just realized that I put it in here upside down for some reason. I guess because it's so little, I didn't notice. That's funny. I read Thornhedge, and that might be the only books on my... I already have read Emily Wilde. Even though I finished it in March, I'll still mark that while I'm here. And then I'm reading Glow of the Everflame right now. And there's a lot of these I want to read. Obviously, I want to read all of them, but I'm excited to get into more of them. I really went through a library kick last month to get romance books for February because I don't really own many, and they're not usually the type of book that I ever reread, so I do like getting those from the library and reading them on my Kindle. But fantasy books are the main ones that I like to own and keep on my bookshelf. They're just my favorites, and I love the covers of them and just like the overall vibe of fantasy books. So that's it for now. And then the next spread are my favorites by month, and I decided my favorite was Yours Truly by Abby Jimenez, and it was a tough pick because I read a lot of good books in February. I think I gave this Yours Truly and Part of Your World by Abby Jimenez. I think I gave them both 5 stars because they were both very good. I ended up reading the whole kind of trilogy from Abby Jimenez. So this book, there's Part of Your World, Yours Truly, and Just for the Summer, and they all have character crossovers in them. They can be read on their own, but it's fun to read them in that order, in the order they were published, because the character crossovers just make more sense if you read them that way. But each one is its own love story. And this one I think was my favorite. I really liked the first one. I liked all of them a lot. I think Just for the Summer I gave 4 stars. But this one has a fake dating trope, and the main character is divorced, and she's had like a hard time finding any good guys to go out with. And she's a doctor, and a new doctor is hired at her hospital, and it's dual POV, so it goes from chapters from, I think her name's Brianna's point of view, and then I think his name is Jacob. I read them, all these books, in the same like week, so they're kind of blurring together. But then Jacob's point of view, and it alternates each chapter, different point of views, and he struggles with social anxiety, so his points of view are really interesting to read, and they're very relatable, kind of funny, charming, and I really loved their relationship because she really accepts him the way he is and like has no problem with his anxiety. She just like really matches his mood, I guess. Like she's like, if he's like, I don't want to go somewhere new, I don't know who will be there or like where I'll park or whatever, she's like, here's exactly how it will be, here's where you should park, here's the type of food we'll be having, all this information to help ease his anxiety. And he doesn't come across like in a complaining way. Like he's always, I say that, you know, I gave a bad example, but he doesn't usually tell her he doesn't want to go somewhere. He's very like willing to do whatever she wants to do and like be her date places and whatnot. And they start by fake dating, but I couldn't really tell you why right now off the top of my head. I think his family's giving him a hard time. His ex-girlfriend is marrying his brother, so it's like a really awkward family dynamic. And he like blurted out that he has a date or something like that to his family to get them like off his back about feeling weird that his ex is marrying his brother, because he just wants to keep the peace in the family. Anyway, he ended up kind of getting himself into a situation where they're like, well, we want to meet your girlfriend. And he ends up asking Brianna to be his like fake date, but she feels really kind of indebted to him. I don't really want to spoil anything, so I won't say it, but she essentially like wants to pay him back a favor. And so yeah, she ends up essentially being like, I'm gonna be the best fake girlfriend you've ever had. And anyway, it was really a good book, very sweet and heartwarming. Okay, there's that, and I filled in my stars. And now let's go to my reading tracker. I wanted to white this out, but I don't know if my white pen, this mistake I made when I made this calendar, but I didn't know if my pen would cover it. So maybe I'll get my paint pen and try to white this out. I should have given it time to dry and done that earlier, but I forgot. Okay, that's a little better. We'll let that dry, and then I might go over it with something else. So maybe I'll skip this first day highlighting it for now. If you don't know, on this tracker, I just highlight through all of the days that I read a certain book. So each book gets a color. I did 8 books this month, so I'll have to pick a lot of colors if I don't want them to overlap. But we'll see. Maybe I will pick my colors and alternate them. I don't know. This dark purple was really dark. I picked these really dark colors last time, and I liked them all, but maybe the dark purple was a little too dark, even though it goes with the washi tape. I don't know. I do like it, but I think these colors still fit the vibe. Oh, the sun's coming back out again. That was weird. It rained for just a little bit. Okay, let's look at my sticky notes to remember when I started and finished books. So on February 3rd, I started and finished Thorn Hedge by T. Kingfisher. So the 3rd, I will just do a highlight like that. And then the 5th to the 6th, I read Part of Your World. Also read that one really quickly. I'm going to do that purple. And then Iron Flame took me a long time. This red is Iron Flame. I was listening to it on and off and kept falling asleep, and it just was a hard time. So the red of this book will continue until February 8th when I finally finished it. And I'm still letting my white dry on this calendar day. So I'm just going to kind of skip that for now and do my red highlight through this week. This is hard for me to do because I can't rest my hand anywhere. That's good enough. And I'll continue it through the 1st when it dries. And I read a short story by Abby Jimenez. So I read 4 books by her. I really got into her romances. They're very good. Even the short story, The Fall Risk by her was very good. I started it on February 9th and finished it on the 9th. So I'll do that in a blue, and then I'll repeat my colors. I read Deep End from the 8th to the 10th. Well, since I did that, I'm gonna actually make this color for Deep End because I like to do one on the top and continue on the top, and I already had that up there, if that makes sense at all. And then I will do the Fall Risk in this color. And I'm gonna start writing them so I don't forget what I'm doing. This is Thorn Hedge. I can't write that small, guys. Okay. Part of Your World. Iron Flame. Yours Truly, I read 20 on the 23rd, the 21st to the 23rd, and then I liked it so much. Oh, the 23rd's covered, whatever. I liked it so much I immediately got the 3rd book, which is Just for the Summer, and I read that. I started and finished it on the 23rd, which is very covered up, so I will just do a light color. And then I was listening to a scary book or the thriller horror book on these days as well, the 20th to the 24th. So I already have 2 books on here, so it's kind of a lot, so I'll just subtly extend it there maybe. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, that's all the books, but I do want to put Reading Emily Wilde on here too. And I started that on the 11th when I got it, but I really read it on and off. But this says I started on the 17th. Maybe that's more accurate. It's probably when I put it into Goodreads. I may have only read, started it, read a couple pages and didn't put it into Goodreads till the 17th. So I'm just going to go with that and put Emily Wilde from the 17th to the end up until when I finished it. And it says I finished it on the 2nd. So what color should I do that one? I'll do this light color again. I guess I don't really care if it's perfect. If it has several books overlapping, that's okay. There we go. And I'll just write Emily Wilde. If I can spell it, I forgot that. Emily Wilde on both strips. Okay, there we go. There's my calendar with all the highlights, and it flips out to show the other months. And then this spread is my series tracker, and I've already printed out the books for this. Just need to find them. I'm not sure. I can't find these book covers for Fourth Wing. Iron Flame. I can't find the book cover for it, the mini one, but I have the 3rd Emily Wilde, and then I have the Part of Your World series. All 3 I read in February. Oh, found them. Okay, let's tape these down. Emily Wilde's Compendium of Lost Tales was really good. I thought it was a really great end to the trilogy. It was sad for it to be over, but hopefully they'll do short stories or something. I say they, I mean she, Heather Fawcett, the author. And then Abby Jimenez, this was the first time I read anything by her, and I obviously really enjoyed her writing since I read her whole little trilogy and also a short story by her. So I had heard of her books. Obviously that's why I hadn't read any, and yet I included her Part of Your World series on my series tracker. It's because I had a feeling this would be the year I get into her romance books and really love them. so far. So if you have any other recommendations of books by her other than these and The Fall Risk that I already read, let me know, because I really enjoyed her stuff. And then Iron Flame I enjoyed pretty well. I just made it through it really slowly. I like the dramatized audiobooks, but it just took me a while to have time to listen to it and not like be at night where I would fall asleep. But yeah, there is my series tracker. I have the next book in the Red Rising series and the next book in the Infernal Devices. So I want to read those, and I am currently reading Glow of the Everflame and so far liking it. So hopefully I will also make headway on that series as well. And here's some more series I have on here. Silver Arrow, which is a children's series. The Hazelwood, The Whisperwicks, also a middle grade series. The Expanse, a really long series that's like a sci-fi series. And then Throne of Glass, which is fantasy by Sarah J. Maas, that I'm hoping to start soon as well. So there's my series tracker. And then here's my last yearly spread, which is my bingo. And I decided to track my bingo with these red dot stickers. So let me find those. Here they are. And over here, I write the books that I've been reading for book club. So I think I will put The Woods Are Always Watching over here. That was like a horror thriller type book. So I'm going to mark off thriller. And Emily Wilde's Compendium of Lost Tales counts as a book released in 2025. So that marks off that bingo. I have a Fable account and I don't use it often, but it said I read a historical fiction. And I don't know which book I read counts as historical fiction. I feel like I might just not be thinking about it in the right way. Maybe it's actually Emily Wilde's. I'm not sure, but it did say I read once, and it literally has genres uploaded into it. So I'm assuming it wouldn't be wrong. So I'll put that. Spooky book, is that kind of the same as thriller? I feel like that's a little different. So I'm gonna hold off. I don't wanna, check everything off right away. And then I feel like that's good for now. I'm going to put the February book. Okay, so I put that book over there. And I might put my star ratings, but I don't remember them for those books right now. So for now, this is what I have. And now we can start on my February spreads, which are my favorite. And this time I'm going to try something a little different and do a Dutch door. I normally just do like January, where I have a title page and then list out the books I read over on this page, but I'm going to try to do something a little different. And first I'm going to cut a Dutch door. Okay. For this spread, I want it to be inspired by February, so I was going to do something kind of Valentine's Day-ish, especially since I read so many romances. But I kind of want to be a little more subtle than I originally thought, and so I think I'm just going to do this beautiful washi tape that I got that I haven't used yet from the washi tape shop. It has beautiful pink and red peonies, and I thought that would be perfect for a February spread. I have my corner rounder, and I'm just going to round these corners. Sometimes it doesn't work quite right. I think maybe it's full. There we go. Okay, so those are rounded now, and what I wanted to do is actually include my book covers. So this will act as my cover. I'll do my cover page over here. I will do the list out the books I read, but then I'll just put the covers of them over here and maybe the star rating underneath, so that at a glance I can see all my books. I might not do the star rating if that's maybe a little redundant, because then I'll do spreads for them where they have the star rating. But that's what I have for now, and I already cut my book covers somewhere. Oh, here they are. Okay, so I also want to put them by color because I realized I have kind of blues and then pinks and reds. So I think I will do my blues up here and then my reds down here. And I need another clip because I need to clip down this little Dutch door. And I'm going to start by gluing these down so that I have those as visuals set in place and I can work around them. I'm out of glue tape. I only have my glue stick, so I also don't think I can layer these on top of washi tape, or PET tape I mean, because in my experience, paper doesn't glue well on top of smooth pet tape. It has to have the rolls of tape, the tape glue stuff to stick. A regular glue stick won't stick on paper to the smooth surface in my experience, at least not very well. Okay. I marked little lines for myself of where to put the tops of the books, so that's what I'm following. I feel like my thriller book is a bit of an outlier. I have 2 romances and then I have lots of romances, like 5, and then these 2 fantasy books. And then there's just my little kind of creepy cover. I mean, thankfully it's just text. It's not like a weird face or something, so it still kind of goes with the look, but kind of funny. That was the book club pick. I probably wouldn't have read a thriller in February otherwise, but maybe. I just don't read thriller that often. I don't know of that many. Like, I'm not really in like a world where I have like a bunch of thriller recommendations and stuff. I guess I mostly get fantasy and romance ones, but this one was pretty good. I don't really have much to compare it to. It was interesting and kept my attention. It was a little gory for a book, but overall it was interesting. I think I gave it 3 stars. I liked it pretty well for what it was. Okay, and now that I have my book covers, I'm gonna start with the bulk of my decoration. I want to put my cover page over here, and I want to use this. I mean, I think I do. To be honest, I didn't really plan this out super well, but I also have these like little floral little pieces of paper that might go. But I really wanted to keep it simple and mostly use this washi tape so that just, you know, I don't use a bunch of stickers every single time I make a spread, just be more budget friendly. Let me cut out this title and see if I like it. Because honestly, it might be kind of big. I don't necessarily cut around each letter, I just cut the word out because it saves me time, and I do have to go and hang out with my kids and everything most days, so if something can save me time, it's nice. There's that. It is kind of large, but I probably will use it. But first, let's layer ephemera. Okay, before I glue anything down, I want to get an idea of how the whole spread will look. And so I'm going to layer some flowers, starting with big ones, on the rest of the spread. I love this pet tape. I got it from the washi tape shop, and it's pre-cut, so everything just peels off like a sticker, and that's so nice. If you've ever spent a lot of time cutting this kind of thing out, you know that like the pre-cut is so helpful. I'm going to alternate the red and the pink, just layering these, and then I will cut off the excess. And there are these other flowers on here. I don't know if they're like the same type of flower. They look a little different. They look more like jasmine-esque, but I'm gonna layer those in the smaller spots. Then I am going to also put them on this flap, the flowers. Ooh, look at that one. That's huge. Maybe I should have put that one there. I think I will cut this one along the seam so it doesn't add bulk to my journal when I close it, so it doesn't give a lot of resistance. I'm looking for another pink one. There's one. This washi tape, I unboxed it in a video, but I don't know if I've posted that video yet, so I might just show you guys. Like, it doesn't repeat for a really long time. I don't even like, I think there, that one is this one, which is the first one I got. So this is how long. I can't even show it in the camera. Look how long it is. That's how long it is before it repeats. The rest are new designs the whole time. This one is very pretty. I think I will put this one right here. And then I want some of these little buds to go in between. I need a smaller pink one, although this is the same as that one, but oh well. I love layering the tape. It's so fun with PET tape because they layer so well when the background is kind of clear like that. You can just place them right over top of one another. Okay, I'm pretty much surrounding Iron Flame over here with flowers, but I just am loving how this looks. Really great colors for Valentine's Day. And then I might put some up the border over here. I might put flowers literally all around and have them growing in between, but I can't decide. So for now, I'm gonna cut the edges and clean it up so I can kind of see what I'm working with better. I'm actually loving these stickers so much that I might do this, or I might just put these big flowers around. I have these that I like the colors of, these like different type of frame stickers. So I might use a stamp to say February. I don't know. I like this title, but I might have printed it too big, and I don't know if I can be bothered to go print another one. Hopefully you can see how I literally just kind of wing it and make these spreads. Okay, I'm going to keep going, but I like to see the whole spread come to completion. So this being blank over here is making me not know where everything's going, so I'm gonna do a little work over here and tape some stuff down, or glue down this time, so that I can get a better idea of everything I'm working with. I have this huge sticker and I'm thinking of putting it here, and this one's really big. Oh no, it stuck down a little before I wanted it to, and it's getting a bubble. There we go. leave a comment and let me know your favorite book that you read in February. And if you did any themed reading for February, like if you specifically read a bunch of romances or anything like that, let me know. Okay, I put that title down, but now to break it up, I'm going to put some more florals on top. I'm adding some in between like the letters to kind of give that look more like I cut out the individual letters without having to actually do all that. Just adding some of these leaves and things over top. Okay, I really like how that's looking. It's looking like a garden. Let's maybe add one more down here, and I might cut it. I like how that looks. I guess I won't. I'll leave it like that. I was thinking of cutting it so it looks like it's underneath, but I quite like that. And I think I will just add a few more buds around, like little petals falling off. And there's that so far. I'm liking it. I think it could use one more flower over here, just because like there's a bigger gap here from how I wanted to space things for the Dutch door. Yeah, I think I will go full garden and place flowers all around. I like the bigger ones at the top and the bottom, so it's essentially like big florals, medium to smaller, and then the edges I'll do the smallest ones. I really like how this is looking. Let me cut off the excess. Okay, I cut the excess off. I have these little pieces of tape all over my fingers now, but I'm really liking how this is looking. I might add a few more. I'm going to add a few more little stickers around just to fill in like small areas, but overall I think this looks so pretty. It's definitely like a really full garden look. And then right here I was planning to just list out the books that I read, but now that you can see them pretty well, you know, with the book covers, so I might not need to do that, and I could just put florals all over this or something like that. I don't know, that could be cool. I've definitely obviously used florals everywhere, so it would be very like maximalist look, but that could be fun for a change. Okay, I want to keep this as the center, so I don't want this to be like too distracting, but it could be kind of like a garden door if I like really filled it in with flowers. I wish you guys could give me real-time advice. Let's see. I mean, I love these flowers. I think that's what I'll do because I don't really need to write anymore. I don't mind my handwriting for like writing out the book descriptions and stuff like that, or I mean my book reviews, but I don't really like my handwriting for like headers and things like that. I need to work on my lettering for larger like fonts and things like that. So I don't always seek out to write a lot in my reading journal other than my stats and my actual reviews. So I think I'll just border this with flowers and leave this middle portion kind of empty as kind of an extension of this cover page. One more over here. There we go. Okay, one more time, cutting off the excess. And there we have my cover spread. I really like how it turned out. It's very floral, but it's perfect for February. I love the pinks and the reds without it being like overtly Valentine's Day. You know, it's not really like hearts and all of that, but it's very romantic and floral still. I saw a little gap here, so I added one more. Some of the gaps I like because it leaves a little space, but there we go. I like that better. I might put one more right here. This pink one is perfect. And there we go. I think it turned out really great. And now I'll do the spreads where I'll write for the books. So this does have me printing out the book covers twice, but like I said, I really like to see the books as a visual reminder of them. So I don't mind using several book covers in my spreads. Okay, for this, I'm going to keep it simple and make it mostly about writing about the books. So I'm going to put the book covers down, and then this Iron Flame will get its own spread, and I'll just have a small amount of room to write for these three. Since I have so many books this month, I don't want to do a spread each. It's just kind of too much for me. But to start, I'm actually going to outline my borders, and I'll probably just I might use my Micron. I'll try this. I marked in pencil approximately where I want everything to be, and I go ahead and I do a double line just because when you're freehanding the lines, I feel like I like the look of that. Okay, and now I will glue down these books, and then I'll do the right page. Comment and let me know if you like to write a lot. If you keep a book journal, do you like to write a lot or not so much? Some books I definitely have a lot to say about, and I could chat about books a lot with the right person, but for some of them I just don't have that much to say. So I like to have not too much room to write. Every now and then I like just, you know, a little bit of space. Especially for some of these books were short stories. Deep End was a romance and I enjoyed it, but I don't have like that much to write about it. And then Thorn Hedge was a short book, and The Woods Are Always Watching was also pretty short. Okay, I will now do my border on this page. There are my book covers, and now let's put star rating stickers under them. And now to keep things simple, I'm just going to do butterfly stamps and more of the same flower stickers around the spread. Sometimes I theme my spreads around the books, but because I read so many this month, at least a lot for me, I'm just going to do like this overall spread for February of kind of this garden and floral look. I need a new ink pad. And then I do have one book. My favorite book, Yours Truly, I am planning to give its own spread. I like to have the florals overlap a little bit so that it kind of ties all of the spread together. Okay, this is, I think, good for me, keeping it simple so I can mostly just focus on writing about the books in the spread. I still need to cut off the excess. Okay, and there's the spread. And then I just want to put Part of Your World was a 5-star read, so I'm gonna give that its own page, and I will do The Fall Risk was a short story, so I don't have that much to write. I'll put it here. And I'll put this one here. So I will do my outlines for this spread, and then I will do my Yours Truly and give it a whole full spread for that book. Hey guys, I'm back. It's actually the next day, so if the lighting looks different, that's why. I am here to do my last spread, or second to last spread really. I'm going to do 2 more spreads for the books I read in February. So where I left off, I'm going to outline my areas for writing about each of these books and decorate this spread, and then I will do Yours Truly and give it its own spread. I'm going to start by something on the page. I'm going to start by outlining where I'm going to put each book. Okay, I hit my wrist on something and messed up down here, so I'll probably cover this spot with stickers or something, but that's all right. Let's glue these down. This was a really fun series to read, this Part of Your World series. I gave Part of Your World 5 stars, Yours Truly 5 stars, and Just for the Summer was like 4 stars. And I really liked The Fall Risk too. That was a lot shorter, but I gave that 4 stars. All of these books, except for Just for the Summer, I believe had older characters, like not just like 30s, young 30s, and which I am 31, so I'm not trying to say that's old. I just appreciated that the characters had been through different things in life. I think 2 of them had been divorced. In both the 5-star ones, I believe the characters are divorced, or one isn't divorced, but they were almost married, I believe, and then ended that relationship. So that was like really interesting to read about characters who just were like a little more experienced in life, I guess. I think most of the other romances I've read, I haven't read loads, but I know some of them have been with younger characters, like some of Lynn Painter's books. So yeah, that was really nice, especially Yours Truly having a divorced character. Now let's decorate the spread. I'm gonna stick with the same theme with these flowers and just decorate the pages. I think I will do a couple of stamps, butterfly stamps on this spread as well. I forgot to start off with them, but I like to put one in like the corner. Maybe this one will overlap the 2 different boxes a little bit. And then I kind of have my go-to spots where I like to put them like in the corners and things. I think I'll just stick with that. I'm going to get some more of these little jasmine looking flowers, or let me know what kind of flower you think that is. I'm going to put more of these around the books. So these will kind of be the bulk of the design at the bottom, and then I'll just decorate with the smaller, more delicate flowers around the books. I've unraveled a lot of the washi tape at this point, so I'm just leaving it to the side because it's kind of messy. That's why you don't see it in the frame. Okay, now I'm going to add my star stickers. Okay, and now I'm going to cut off the excess, although my scissors are getting stickers everywhere. Okay, here's the spread. I'm trying to decide if I want to stop and write about the books now, or I might finish the spreads and then write in them all at once and get a different angle because I'm standing while I film this, so it's not the most comfortable for writing. But yeah, here are these 2 spreads. So I'm gonna add 1 more flower over here, and then I think this spread is good. Okay, now I'm going to do the last spread, which is for yours truly. And I think I wanna do something different and maybe do large flowers in the center just to break away from what I've been doing. And I think since the other spreads I outlined them, I might also outline this one. Yeah, let's start with that. Okay, there's the outline, and I'll probably put the cover up in the corner, but I am going to start with my decoration in the middle. So I have these large flowers and this one that I think is the biggest. So I probably will start with this one, and then I ripped this one off, but I didn't really mean to. It just was connected to another one I was taking off, and then it came off, and I was like, oh, I'll probably use that, but maybe I'll do the center and then this corner and this corner. That could be nice. But yeah, yours truly was my favorite of the 4 Abby Jimenez books I read. It was my favorite out of all of them in February. It was a close tie almost between yours truly and Part of Your World, but I really enjoyed the main male character dealing with his social anxiety. It was just kind of nice to hear about, especially it being the male and not the female was just something different than anything I've read in a romance. And I really liked the development that went on between both characters. The female character learning to like trust again after her divorce where she was cheated on, and the male character learning how to kind of say what he wants and go after what he wants, and learning what it feels like to really be in a relationship with someone that accepts him how he is. And yeah, it was just really fun story. I think they don't even really get together until towards the end of the book, like officially, but it has a fake dating trope that I mentioned earlier. And so that's like, they're still together like all the time throughout the book. And that's part of why I liked it, is they just seemed to really enjoy hanging out with one another, and it felt very like natural, and overall I really liked it. Let me know if you've read any books by Abby Jimenez, and if you've read any of the books I read this month, or if you've read others and have any recommendations. I want to find a leaf or something to add right here to bring more of the green in. I'm going to glue the cover down so that I can place a flower over it. There we go. Okay, I like that. Thinking maybe a couple more loose petals around, and then maybe something over here. And there we go. That looks good to me. I'm just going to cut the excess off again and start writing about the books. Okay, now I'm gonna go sit where I can fill these out and write about the books and fill in the star ratings. So this book, Part of Your World, was really good too. It is like a small town guy meets a bigger city doctor, is the main female character. And the guy was super sweet. He runs an inn and he's very like wholesome and puts in a lot of effort. He lives like out in a smaller town, so she makes trips out to see him. And the book starts with her car going into a ditch, and so she needs help getting pulled out, and that's how they meet. And then she ends up going to a bar to like get some food before she heads back home, and that's where he and his friends are, and they like dare him to see if he can take her home. And so because he helped her get out of the ditch, he like goes up to her and she's like, I'll pretend to like walk out with you. And so they leave the bar together, but then they do go back to his place and they have like a fling, but like then it turns into more, and it's really cute. I don't want to spoil anything, but yeah, overall I really liked this book, and I liked it more than I expected to. Just for the Summer was also really good, but my least favorite, I think, just because, I don't know, I felt like the connection that was made between the two characters was not as like established before they had a bunch of conflict. Essentially, the main character sees a Reddit thread of this guy. His Reddit thread talks about a couple things, but it mentions that he has a curse where everyone who dates him, when they break up with him, they find their like love of their life, or like the person they're going to marry. And the main female character sees that thread, and her best friend's like, oh my gosh, you have that curse too. And so her best friend encourages her to reach out to this guy. And then they start talking and messaging back and forth and talking about like their shared curse, and how if they were to date each other, maybe the curse would break, or at least they would both go on to find the love of their life. So he asks her on a date, but she's a traveling nurse and doesn't live near him. And then she ends up being able to swing it where she can do a traveling nurse, like residency or whatever you call that, interim job in Minnesota where he lives. And so that's why it's called Just for the Summer. She visits just for the summer, and they end up being able to go on a date, multiple dates, and figure all their relationship stuff out. But he has a pretty interesting backstory, and so does she. Again, very interesting like family dynamics. Both of their moms have been to prison before, I believe. That's kind of like something they like bond over. But yeah, overall, really good book. I gave it 4 stars. I just filled in 5 stars because I'm used to filling these in. Whatever. That's what happens when you get carried away. Well, I might cover it with a different star sticker, but for now, I'll just leave it. The Fall Risk was also really good. It was a short story that I got on my Kindle because it was an Amazon First Reads, which is, I'm not sure exactly, but it's included with my Prime subscription. Yeah, it was just a shorter book, but it was really good. It starts off with these neighbors in an apartment complex. They come out like of their apartments to go to work, and they see that the stairs are gone, and there was like a miscommunication with the landlord. He wanted stairs fixed on a different building, and there was like a miscommunication, and their stairs got removed, so they're like trapped up on the top floor of their apartment complex, and they start to get to know each other. And the girl has like a stalker who's been after her, and she's had to move, and so like move to get away from him, and he follows her, and she's really like suspicious of people because of it. And it's a short story, so like they wrap it all up in a short amount of time, but it was really fun and really cute. I definitely recommend getting it, especially if you can get it for free on Amazon First Reads. Okay, here are these spreads filled out, and now I'm going to write about these books. I'm just now realizing I meant to put Iron Flame over here and Deep End over here, because I have more to say about Deep End. I don't know if I can pull them up without ripping them. Whatever, I honestly think this is fine. I don't always have like loads to write about each book, but I did rate this one higher than Iron Flame. Okay, and I finished writing about my last book. So now I'll do a quick flip through. hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. Please like this video and subscribe if you're not already. I would really appreciate it. It helps out my channel, and I thank you again, and I'll see you with my next video. Bye guys.